You're 34, standing in your father-in-law's driveway, and he's just put a set of keys in your hand. A car. Not a loan, not a pay me back whenever. A gift. He says he's finally not worried about you anymore. Your wife is crying next to you, and you can't tell if it's happiness or 12 years of something finally letting go. You didn't ask for this. You didn't earn it by asking. Rewind. You're 22. Your first real paycheck lands, and it feels like nothing you imagined. Smaller. Already spoken for. An older guy on your team, Marcus, catches you doing the math on a napkin at lunch, watches you frown at it, and says one sentence you don't think much of at the time. Never let your lifestyle grow more than 2% for every 10% your income grows. You laugh. He doesn't. You write it on the back of the napkin anyway, more out of politeness than belief, and stuff it in your wallet. You don't know it yet, but that napkin is going to outlast 3 apartments, 2 cars, and every promotion you're about to get. You're 23. First raise, 11%. You do the math Marcus gave you almost as a joke. 2% of your lifestyle, not 11. You move your rent up exactly 1 notch, keep the same car, and the rest disappears into an account you don't name yet. It doesn't feel like discipline. It feels like barely doing anything. That's what makes it easy to keep doing. Your brother David gets a promotion the same month. He leases a new SUV. Reasonable payment, he says. Everyone agrees it's reasonable. Nobody does the math on reasonable repeated every 18 months for the next decade. You're 25. Second raise, bigger this time. 19%. The math gets harder now because the number attached to 2% is real money, and there's a version of this year where you could justify almost anything with it. You keep the rule anyway. New couch, slightly better one. That's the whole celebration. David buys a house that year, 4 bedrooms for a family of 3, because you grow into it. At Thanksgiving, he shows you the listing on his phone, more excited than you've seen him in years. You tell him it's beautiful. It is beautiful. You don't say the other thing you're thinking, because there's nothing to say yet. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's just done everything at once. You don't know it yet, but growing into it is going to take him longer than he thinks. You're 27. You get engaged. The ratio gets tested in a new way. Not a raise this time, but a wedding, and every vendor's default assumption of what you should spend. You and your fiancé sit at the kitchen table with the napkin, half joking, half serious, and run the numbers the way you'd run a raise. You spend less than half of what people expect from your income level. Nobody at the wedding notices. Nobody's supposed to. David is your best man. His toast is genuinely warm. He means every word of it. Off to the side, briefly, he mentions the new car is up for a payment increase next year. Insurance, you know how it is, and moves on before it becomes a conversation. You don't push it. It's his wedding gift to you that night, not the moment for that. You're 29. Promotion, a real one, title and everything, 31% bump. This is the year the rule starts to hurt a little, because 31% is enough to change what your life could look like, and 2% of that is almost insulting by comparison. You feel the pull for the first time. Not toward recklessness, just toward a normal, defensible upgrade. A better car. Nothing crazy. You sit with it for 2 weeks before you decide against it. David gets a promotion too, same year, smaller than yours. He upgrades the SUV anyway, ahead of the raise landing, because the new one's already basically paid for once the promotion kicks in. You don't say anything. You've learned there's nothing useful to say once someone's already signed. You don't know it yet, but you just made the decision that ends up mattering the most, and it looked like nothing happening at all. You're 31. First kid. This is the year the rule almost breaks for a legitimate reason. Kids are expensive, and every dollar you don't spend on convenience becomes an hour you don't get back with a newborn. You bend a little on purpose, not the ratio. You widen what counts as necessary and hold the line everywhere else. It's the first time you consciously choose the rule over comfort in the moment instead of it just being a habit you don't think about. David's second kid arrives that spring too. Private school deposit for the first one, because the public option isn't great in the new district. The one attached to the 4-bedroom house he grew into 2 years later than planned. Nobody at the family barbecue does the math on what a decade of that deposit actually costs. You don't either out loud. You're 33. Layoffs hit your company. Not you this time, but half your floor, including a guy who started with you the same week you started, same rank, same trajectory on paper. He's out for 4 months. You watch him white-knuckle it from a distance, and for the first time you actually feel the size of the number the napkin turned into. Not pride, just relief, the quiet kind that doesn't need an audience. David calls you that year, first time in a while, and it's not really about you. Rates went up, the SUV payment folded into a refinance he didn't love the terms on, the school deposit's due again, and he says, almost as a joke, almost not, must be nice having no expenses. You don't correct him. You don't have no expenses. You have the same expenses, at 2% instead of 10. He's never once seen the napkin, so there's no fast way to explain the difference. You don't know it yet, but the driveway is 3 months away. You're 34. Your father-in-law calls you and your wife over on a Sunday, no occasion, and hands you the keys in the driveway. He's watched 12 years of you quietly not doing what everyone around you was doing, never once asking him for anything, never once needing him to bail out a decision. He says he's finally not worried about you anymore, like it's been sitting on him the whole time, and now it isn't. Your wife cries. You hold the keys and think about a napkin from a conversation you barely remember having. 12 years, and about 6 raises ago. Nobody ever congratulated you along the way. Nobody threw a party for the 2%. David's had more parties than you can count. A house, 2 cars, a private school ribbon cutting. And he's still 15 years from being able to stop if the math ever lets him stop at all. You didn't win by watching him fail. He never failed. He's fine. He's just never going to be free. And you already are, and neither of those is loud enough for anyone else to see from the outside. There's a difference between growing into your life and letting your life grow past you by 10% every time it gets the chance. You finally know which one you were choosing, every single time, on a napkin nobody else ever read. Maybe you just got a raise. Maybe you're about to. The 2% isn't a sacrifice. It's the only part of the raise anyone will ever notice, because it's the only part you're allowed to keep.